Hello and welcome to my TiPi. This was a project I started because my daughter and I had a tent that died, and I had promised her that when our tent dies, I would build her a teepee. So I started in with a model, a paper model, um, and created the little thing that you see here. It had, I think, 3 or 4 poles, just enough to give me a idea of what a paper model teepee would look like. This is basically just getting a concept of the what the teepee looks like. And after this was done, I tried to put in the poles. Of course, I did them all wrong at first. There's a little bit of research that went into this that got everything right after. But from this, I was able to get a decent blueprint that at least gave me some concept of where I would be with the measurements of the door, the smoke flap, the lacing pins, and the height of the TP, how long things were going to go, things like that, and the overall 50% drawing, which is half of what a TP is. Then I started in on a cloth model, and the cloth model um, gave me another understanding because I had to cut the cloth first to the measurements I had and then wrap it around and make it work. Here I'm trying out different ideas for a insert liner, the inside liner, um, and messing around with mounting it on a piece of cardboard so I could move it around the house a little bit easier. Here I'm messing around with trying to get an idea of what an ozone would look like because I had only read about them. I'd never actually even heard of them before. From the ozone, I did a little bit more work and got into what the liner was going to kind of look like. And this liner's in 3 pieces that I started. And just to get an idea, I did a little bit of artwork on the outside, did a artwork on the liner just because I wanted it to look kind of cool. I made some stuff for the inside, like this little fire pit, just to give it a better look with the camera. I staked it out just enough to get it to hold down. Nothing about this model is exact. It's just really, really close. Um, but it worked. The model worked, and that's all that really, really mattered to me was getting this cloth model to come together and line up. So this is also where I did some work and research and figured out how the poles went, including the smoke flap poles and how they work. Um, so the lacing pins are there. I did a little bit of artwork with some wolves and some horses and a bear. Um, and then I put a tea candle in here and lit it up, and it's like, wow, that really, really looks cool. So then I went outdoors with it to get an idea of what this model would look like with the moon behind it outdoors. And I was super impressed with how these pictures came out. I was like, wow, that is really actually kind of marvelous. And decided to keep it. So now this model is a in my bedroom, mounted to a board, not cardboard anymore. I mounted this to a board, and this is what she looks like now in my bedroom with a tea candle in it, and it makes a great night light. So I don't mind it. It's 18 inches in diameter. I put it on a 20-inch board and 19-inch board, and I absolutely love the way this is all hard mounted now. The pins and everything are drilled. I mean, the where the ground stakes are, that's drilled in, and it's all mounted. It looks really cool in my bedroom, and I like it. Then I moved on to a bigger model, and this is model number 4, but it's a second cloth model. And this model is 18. So this is instead of being a 16 scale, this is 1/8 scale. This is every 1 inch, every 2 inches equals 1 foot. Um, Same thing. I worked on the liner and getting at how the liner was going to work out. And then after getting it done and complete, painted, I brought it outdoors and I took it to a park and set it up a couple of times, but mostly I just wanted to get some ideas of how it was going to work. Now, the problem with putting a model together is when you do a model, um, you are stuck with doing the inside before finishing the outside. So the liner has to go in and be put on before you put the floor in, and before you put the shell on the canvas cover. So in this case the cloth cover. So it was coming together, and everything was working out. It lines up really well. Um, I was a little bit more detailed in everything, including staking out. So stakeouts are where I wanted them to be, which is every one of them is 3 feet apart um, by scale. So there's 15 stakeouts on this little teepee, and there's 15 stakeouts on my large teepee, on my full scale teepee. Smoke flaps are there, and of course they don't. These smoke flaps don't give as much, so they're not so forgiving. They don't have the bend in them, so I can't wrap them around the teepee like a normal teepee, but they look really cool. Um, you know, the picture. I love the spiral on a teepee, the way it goes in. This is the artwork I did on the liner for the inside of this one. Um, it works, and what was most pleasing is it came together as a TP, and then I brought it out to a lake, and I made some other stuff to, I made a couple of little canoes, and I did some other stuff. I made some spears and bow and arrow and a quiver and little bear type of cloths to put on the floor inside the teepee. But I love how these shots came out on the lake. I set it up next to a pond near where I grew up. And it's really quiet, so I didn't get bugged by a lot of people. And really, really liked how this came out as a model next to this pond with, I mean, of course, these pictures look kind of really cool. Also, you'll see I changed up the fire pit in this one, so it's a portable fire pit, and did a back setting and stuff like that. I really like the way this came out. This is a picture of the third model, the inside of the third model, and here we go with the liner of the third model. So this third model's liner is a progression of the moon. At the top, you'll see that there's the full moon and the first quarter, and as you work further away, you come to the half moon, and then the third quarter, and then the new moon, all the way working all the way around the liner for this model, and I really kind of like the way this came out. Of course, this isn't finished. This liner here, it's just started. But there's a mosaic that I actually went with the large model, and this is also the mosaic and the art that I used for the full scale. This is the ozon I designed and made for this model, and the reason for this is included in this is the Large Dipper, the Small Dipper. My daughter is, to me, is the North Star, so the North Star is represented in here. Also, her mother and I are both Virgos, and she is a Leo, and those two signs are also represented inside that overall. And there's the Little Dipper with the North Star, which is what I call my daughter. My daughter is the North Star for me. She is my guiding light. Um, so that's where this artwork came from. And so my family is Blackfoot. I'm 25% Blackfoot, Saskatchewan Blackfoot from my grandmother, and my daughter's around 20%. And this art is these images of art that I decided to use are art from Blackfoot, real Blackfoot teepees that I saw, that I've seen online, and I really love these pictures of these horses and the buffalo, and I was like, that really does work for me. I love horses. I still have one, but he's not with me. It's a long story, but Traveler and Frisco, my two horses, and large part of my life. And so I went back out to that same pond and I set these both of the teepees up. It took a couple of hours actually to get these all set up, and then I made some models of some stretched hide and put them on stretching boards, which really wouldn't have been very reminiscent of Native Americans in the West. What would have been more reminiscent of Native Americans here in the East, where I'm from. But I decided to go with the standing boards because nobody'd see them if they were staked out on the ground. Um, and also, these teepees, although I'm Blackfoot, are not four-post, 4-point teepees. These are 3-point teepees. So these are modeled after the Sioux teepee, which is what my full-scale model is modeled after the Sioux teepee, not a Blackfoot teepee. Just the only reason I'm going with the Sioux teepee rather than the Blackfoot is I have to set it up by myself, and getting 4 poles up into the air alone. Getting the 3 up by alone is a chore, but getting 4 up would be impossible. So I love this shot with the moon behind the model. In between the guy, the smoke flaps tie out string, and and a smoke flap in the T. I just love the way this looked. So yeah, that's where I got to with this, and I am very, very, very happy with it. It's made me very happy to get to here. So now we are on to the full-scale model. So this is the poles, starting of the poles. These are the ones that have not been debarked, and the others, those last ones, were the ones that were debarked. There's 17 poles involved in this. These are all from a beach. So there's a standing beech grove where my friend lives, and he gave me permission to get these. And it took me quite a while to get all these poles cleaned out. So here's some of the video from this, and enjoy it.
I don't know if I'm in frame or not, but this is the prep work that goes into every single pole, because this is not pine lodge. It's not lodgepole pine. So every one of these knots have to be shimmied down as best I can with the hatchet before I get going anywhere with the debarking, just because these things cause a major problem. And trust me, I did look for trees that did not have knots, but this felt more like shopping in Home Depot for a straight 2x4. So yeah, this is the process of getting the knots pretty much out. The big ones anyways. The little ones they just have to deal with. Get them out with the draw knife. Problem with the knots is usually down here in the lower ends, the limbs that used to be the knot is dead on the inside, and I deal with that. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little dead spot in there, and I'll have to take a lot more care with that dead spot when it comes to preserving the wood. This one too. We've got to really get in there and get a lot of the sealer in there. Now, what's the sealer? The sealer is a 50-50 mixture of boiled linseed oil and turpentine. Yeah, I don't know how many of these. This is the second one I'm doing today so far. My goal was to try to get at least 4 or 5, maybe 6. If I get 7, I got them all done. But I don't think so. I can hear thunder in the background, and I mean, I'm in the middle of a field, with a big long pole with a big metal hatchet. But at least I can't catch COVID from anybody out here in the middle of nowhere. I may burn to death, but at least I won't catch COVID. So yeah, this is the preliminary work on every single pole. It takes about a 15 minutes to a half an hour, depending. I'll have worse. It'll be worse when I get towards the end. That's right. I had to cut the bigger limbs off. But some of these were terrible. Some of them took 45 minutes just to get all the knots out. So, but it's worth it in the end. So get it nice and smooth. I know Lexi will be happy once we're in this thing and camping. She's excited to go to Robin's party and do some camping up at Robin's place. She also wants to go to Uncle Paul's house and camp there, but I told her, I said, unless we go across the street from Uncle Paul's house, I don't think he's got any place that's tall enough and wide enough for the footprint of the teepee. But it is what it is, right? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 done. All right. 11 completed. So 11 completed means 6 more, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 to go. Now, 2 of these, although all of them right now are 24 feet long, 2 of these will end up being 18 feet long. And those will be the smoke flap poles that hold the flaps out for the smoke. That's why they're called smoke flap poles. They'll be the smallest of the poles that I have, and the lightest after they're completely dried out. Now, I can already tell the difference in these. When I brought them out of the woods, each one weighed about 50, 60 pounds, but now they're probably down into the 30, 40 pound range. There was a couple I picked up that are down into the maybe 25 pound range. When they're all dried out, they should all be roughly between 10 and 15 pounds when all the water is out of the poles entirely. Right now, not all the water is out of the pole entirely. So that'll take about 4 weeks of just laying out here. 85, and we haven't had a lot of good sunshine on them, so and they've been laying on the ground until I put them over there on the pallet. So the others are laying on the ground, but it's flat, and that'll help keep them from warping. After all of them are done, I'm going to take these sawhorses and add some 2x8s, 2x4s across, and I'm going to lay them out on the sawhorses so I can get them way up off the ground, so there's very little chance of moisture. Get them up so that the air will get on them, and hopefully it'll dry them out a lot faster. And then it'll take about a week to put all the linseed oil on them, because you do them once, and then you give them 2-3 days to dry, and then you come back and do it again, and do it 2-3 days to dry, and then you come back and do the third time. My goal is to hopefully get it done 4 times. But I've got a lot of other things that are happening with this project. I'm still searching for a boat trailer, so I can convert it into something that can carry these things and all our other gear. I'm also got to do the canvas, and that's going to take some work too. I'm probably completely out of frame, so all you can do is hear me and see me beating on the tree. But I'm almost at the end. I'm going to turn you so you can see me. And hopefully you can still running. Yep, still running. Yeah, still running, I guess. So I'll turn you down here. You can see me at the end down here. Yay! Almost finished. Nice thing about Lexi being able to come up here, she can play on the swing set. Nobody else uses it. And there's a little kid's picnic table over there she was playing with the other day. If we come up on Sunday, then I'm going to bring her little kids tent. That's not that big. Hopefully, I only got two to go by Sunday. I got only two left by Sunday. That'll be great. I can come up here, finish peeling the last ones, and then get her home to be able to play with her friends. We'll spend all day Saturday at my friend's son's birthday party. Yay! I'm here. Yay! So, anyways, I'm going to turn the video off and save some time and battery and get started on this one. I got a bad storm coming in here, so I don't know how far I'll get, but hopefully I'll get somewhere. Thanks.
All right, so the poles have been stained at this point, and the trailer was bought. Now, believe it or not, building the TiPi and the trailer are conjoined projects. I don't have there's no way for me to separate the two projects. They actually have to be done together. So, a friend of mine found a decent trailer, 19 and a half feet long, and this is the trailer that I'm going to be using. These are some of the images of the trailer before getting started, and um, yeah. So, anyways, here we go on to the next active video, and I'll let you guys enjoy this and have fun with it. Thanks. Okay, so as you can see, these poles aren't stained in this image. I was just, that video and these pictures here are just me setting up the TP poles just to get an idea of how they're going to work. And I was actually kind of pleased with the way this all came out. All these next videos are going to be of me setting up the TP and the canvas, the poles and the canvas, and the poles are sealed and stained. So I'm going to let you guys have at it here and enjoy it. Kind of a long one. Please forgive me um, at 14 minutes into this video. I actually dropped the canvas, so it's kind of bummed out about that, but it is what it is. Um, so setting these poles up takes a little bit of work by yourself. I have not penciled these poles at all. So I've got to really jam them into the ground a little bit to get them to go up into place. Um, but into place they do go. So um, I think I shut the audio off on this one. My friend was in the background here and he was talking some unpleasantries about a woman that he had been dating. And I didn't think that that was appropriate for everybody to hear, although true, it wasn't necessary. So I guess I can talk through a little bit of this and give you guys a little bit what is going on. So this TP is set up in, like I said before, in the Sioux tradition. So there's three poles in the Sioux tradition: the North Pole, the South Pole, and the door pole. The door pole is always facing east. Um, and just to be clear, I've set this up completely backwards for the benefit of the camera. The door side on this is actually facing west. So um, just a little side note there. So this pole that you see right here standing right in front of us, the one off to the, furthest to the left, I mean, furthest to the set on the left is the door pole. And this one's going to be going in beside it. So anyways, uh, yeah, I got to jam these things into the ground as best I can to get these up and into place. Um, all in all, I've been overwhelmingly happy with the way this has come out. Um, if any of you want to build a TP, and you want to do it yourself, feel free to message me here. Send me a private message. I think I'll link my email in here if you want to email me, and I'll do what I can to get some images of the blueprints. I have kept all the prints that I made involving this TP, including the uh, the blueprints for my trailer as well that I designed. Um, just because I wanted to make sure that I'm one of those people. I keep things. So the print for this TP with all its measurements and everything are all laid out. And if a person wanted to build a TP off my blueprints, you're more than welcome to. Um, I bought the canvas as 20 by 40 sheets. I probably could have bought the canvas in yardage and sewn them together myself, but since I'm doing all of this in the living room, actually in my dining room, it would have been an insane project to try to handle like that. I've got a little tiny $150 brother sewing machine that's 35 years old. um, Luckily for me, a very good friend of mine gave me some number 16 needles, and she also gave me some industrial um, 90 pound threading, which was invaluable to getting this project done. I would have been losing my mind trying to do this with the highest I could find at Walmart or Michael's was 30 pounds, and it just wasn't cutting it. It was tearing up every so often. It would just rip. Um, so the 90-pound thread came in really handy. I wish I could have had something a little stronger, but is what it is. Um, so now you can see this is coming together a little bit. I've got the door to the south, door to the north poles and a door to the south poles laid in, and now I'll be bringing the poles around to the back, 3 poles around to the back that will be for um, the back wall from the south to north. Um, so the way these get laid in is, you lay these in from the door to the south pole, but from the door to the north. I mean south. I laid these in 1, 2, 3, and 4. From the door to the south, I laid them in. I mean north. I laid them in as 5, 6, 7, 8 around, in order. In the back, number number um, 9 goes closer to the South Pole. Number 10 goes in next to that. And then there's a skip in a pole spot where you put in number 12. And then your lifting pole, which is the pole that carries the TP cover into place, number 13. Yeah, whatever. I can't remember the numbers, but anyways, that will be the last pole that goes in, and that doesn't get included in the wrap. Um, these poles all get included in the wrap that holds the TP frame together. Now, um, this TP is 18 feet in diameter and 18 feet to the apex. The poles are 24 feet overall, and it is quite the thing to set up, especially getting the lifting pole into place by myself. And you'll see at 14 minutes here, I actually drop the it slides forward out of the way, and I had to reposition it. Then I put some stakes in the ground behind the base of the pole so it wouldn't slide any further, and I was able to push it up. But it was a lot of work. This isn't a lightweight canvas at all. This is a very, very heavy canvas. I'm willing to bet it weighs between 80 and 100 pounds. Um, and with the paint on it, it's probably a little bit more, but not much more. I guess I would be an exaggeration. The paint probably doesn't weigh that much, but it feels like it does. Um, so you will see after I get all these poles into place, these first poles into place, the next thing I will do will be the wrap. So I will take the rope that holds the tripod into place, and I'll bring it outside the teepee, and I will wrap it around the top of the teepee, the apex. I will make 4 turns going clockwise. Yeah, clockwise, um, the direction of the sun, around the outside. This is a traditional wrap, so traditionally you go around 4 times, and you snap it into place as you go around 4 times. Now, uh, I get so into it when I was like, oh, why isn't it snapping right up into that spot? Well, I got to get further around for it to do it. It actually kind of naturally goes there, but I'm I'm fighting with it, and not realizing that it will go up into where it needs to be. I'm not. This is my first time second time setting up the poles, so I'm not fully familiar with how this is all going to work out, but it does end up working out, as I go around the pole. By the time the fourth wrap is on, it's looking the way it's supposed to, and it's everything is getting into the place where it needs to be. But things that you learn, and so I hope the rest of my if you go back on my channel here, and if you go to my channel and you look at the work that I've done on the TiPi, you'll see everything being done um, from the beginning to this point, to this point here, to the finished model. To the finished full thing. Um, from the models all the way up to the last setup when I have everything right. So um, you should be able to follow along. But like I said, if you have any questions, please, I will help at do anything to help you out. Who helped me out? Um, Watching the videos, every video that I could get a hold of how to make a TiPi, I watched every single video that's out there on YouTube. Um, uh, Nomadic TP is one of the companies that I got probably the most help from by watching their videos. But there's a few others that are self-made men that built their own TPs, and I watched them and took as many notes. And so if I can do it, you can do it. Uh, it's not brain surgery. If I can do it, you can do it. But I will help anybody that wants to help. Like I said, I will link my my face. I'll not link, but I'll put my email address in here, and feel free to contact me, and I'll do anything I can to help. And if you have any negative comments and you want to give me flack about something, go right ahead. I don't really care. I won't. I'm not even going to pay attention to you. But you want to chew me out because I look too fat. You can do that. I don't mind. I am fat. If you want to chew me up because I'm wearing a holster here that doesn't have my sidearm in it, it's because the day that this was done, I had a police officer come out that was coming out to do a VIN verification on the trailer, and I decided that it was probably better to have my sidearm locked up inside my car than hanging on my hip, just to make the officer feel more at ease. Um, and I'm glad I did, because it was a female officer, and the last thing I wanted to do was, make her feel nervous. But because she was doing me a favor by coming out on a Saturday to do a VIN verification for the trailer, so I was kind of happy with that. So here we go. Mess up number one on this whole thing, and this is where I actually drop the canvas, and I feel so stupid. I video recorded this and doing good up to this point, and then I drop it. uh, oh well, is what it is. But I felt kind of stupid, anyways. Uh, Anyways, I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna play this out. I'm gonna let this play out, and the rest of this video, I'm not gonna talk through it. Um, and I'll pick it up on the other side during the stills, and tell you about one of the things that went dreadfully wrong, and my own stupidity. But yeah, so here we go. All right, we're lifting, we're lifting, we're lifting. Remember, this is heavy. And I'm pushing uphill, believe it or not, because this is actually built on kind of a downhill slant. Not a big, huge one, but enough to give me that extra, gosh, I've got to push this thing uphill. Like, you can feel it. So here it goes, and there she is. Bang. Um, if ever I felt stupid in this project, this is the day I felt stupid. I was like, oh man, now what? How am I going to do this? And I am really, at this point in my head, I'm like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this done? And then I remembered another video that I had seen where um, they put a couple of stakes on the ground, behind the TP, behind the lifting pole end, to be able to create that lever that they needed to be able to get the TP, the lifting pole up. So I was like, oh, I have an idea. I'll try their idea. So it's not like I did anything spectacular. Here I am. I was like, oh, I'm going to walk out of here. No, wait, I'm going to go through the door. So yeah, I actually went through the door. Anyways, I'll let you guys enjoy this to the end, and we'll see where we're at the end of this. Okay, thanks. Okay, so there it is, stretched out. Now you can see what my problem was. I made the mistake of listening to one of the videos about the smoke flat poles and cut down one of the smoke flat poles and kicked myself now because that smoke flat pole is way too short. And my buddy cut me down another tree. I've still got to go out and stain it and trim it and debark it, but there, it's there now. So, anyways, this is the door. This is the door art that I decided on. Um, so that's what this is. This is the TP door art, and I ended up putting this on when I was out there in the fields. You can see again. You can see that pole being short. It makes me so mad that I did that. But yeah, is what it is. But the door, so the door art's on, and I like the way the door came out. Um, I just had some other things like I didn't uh, cut any sticks to keep the door from caving in, which it did from time to time when the wind blew. It would just blow it inside, so make you kind of mad. But anyways, um, yeah, I kind of like the way I love the way it looks. I have to learn to stretch this out a little bit more, get some of these wrinkles out. But I was in a hurry this day, and just looks the way it looks. But I love. I mean, I got down towards my buddy's place, and I looked up into the field, and I could all you can see is this teepee dominating the field. I was so proud. And I was like, oh, she looks so good. So that's where I was with that, and I took it down, took the canvas down, brought it home, and then I started in on the artwork. Um, so these are this is the artwork off of, if you remember looking back, this is the artwork from the model that I made, and I love the way this looked with the circles. And on the top you can see I've got the
Uh, Day one painting, and I have gotten all of the mosaics done. So the top with the moon and the sun, crescent moon, the bottom with the mosaic here on the bottom, triangles and circles, all the way done. I have to let it dry. This side here is probably already dry, but the other side, that'll take some time. And I got a rainstorm coming. So I don't know if you can see, but I have already drawn out two of the horses. Probably can't see them. I don't know. I can't see them, so maybe you can. So there's two of the horses. And over here, which they're not drawn out yet, but in this area, there will be 3 buffalo. So that's for another day, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I can get the horses done. I don't know if I can get all of them done, as there's a lot entailed in the buffalo and the horses. But a day closer, and I'll see if I can back out here. See if I can get the whole bloody thing back. It's kind of big, so maybe not. There, I think that's the whole thing.
all right.
There you
So
go.
yeah, I was saying that this top piece has a 1/4 moon and the sun, surrounded by this blue field. And on the other side of the smoke flaps, the other side of the smoke flaps are done in yellow. Um, and yeah, I finished the horses and was pretty excited. I had to draw a little line into the neck on the blue horse here to give it the definition line where the difference between the neck of the horse and the hair is on that horse. I wasn't really happy with the way this leg came out, but it is what it is. Next day I came back and I did the buffalo, and I was really happy with the way these buffalo came out. And yeah, so here it is.
So here I sit. It's noon. I've finished all the painting, and I'm just chilling out, reading a book, waiting for this to finish curing, and I want to give it plenty of time this time. So I'll probably sit here till about 2 reading. not much else I can do. I can't leave it out here in the playground because it's a playground. um, but I'll be able to roll it up probably in 2 hours. I want to make sure the buffalo are completely cured and done. But here we go. Here we are. So this is one smoke flap, and this is the other smoke flap. I've just painted the yellow on it, and I need that to dry. The other side of that blue one is yellow. You can probably see the yellow coming out from underneath it. So anyways, this is as close as I get to being done. It's done. The cover anyways. So now I have to order the next piece of canvas, which is 20 feet by 40 feet. One side of that will make the big circle, which is 19 feet in diameter. It's a foot larger than the TiPi itself, and the reason for that is when it goes into place, the sidewalls are put up on the inside first, and then the floor is put in. And when the floor goes in, it actually lays against the sidewalls, and that causes the smoke, which is inside the TiPi. I mean the air that comes from underneath the wall. You can see underneath the wall and up. So the air comes inside the TiPi, sort of. The TiPi is off the ground by about between 4 and 6 inches, and the air comes in from underneath. The wind is pushed in and then travels up between the poles and the wall, so that it's actually traveling between the two canvases, the wall canvas and the shell, and goes upwards. And the smoke flaps here cause a draft because of the way you set the TiPi up. You always set the door up on the easterly side. And so the wind, prevailing winds here in New England are mostly from the west. Now, the difference is if you're in a canyon or something like that, or in a bunch of buildings, you would want to set the door facing the wall. And the reason for that is wind will blow towards the wall. So anyways, that's neither here nor there, a little side jot. But anyways, so the air comes up between the two canvases, and in the process of traveling up between the two canvases, it creates a tunneling effect, basically turning the TiPi into a chimney. It's an ingenious idea. So you're living in the bottom part of a chimney where there's no part of the wind, but the draft part starts at about 5.5, 6 feet up, and that's what carries all the smoke out the top of the TiPi. So there you have it. So anyways, I got about 2 hours of sitting here chilling out.
So these are the buffalo. There's a boy, the male one male buffalo that I drew, and my daughter calls him the boy, the girl, and the boy and the boy, the mommy, and the daddy, the mommy, and the little girl. So here's the one of the horses that I drew. I love this one. It's funny that the Blackfoot artwork that I copied, and I realized this late into the stage, that these horses were representative of Appaloosas. So kind of neat that the trade between Native Americans with the Blackfoot and the Nez Perce would have produced the Blackfoot owning Appaloosa horses. So here we go. I'm going to shut up here in a little second and let some of these videos play out. But this is the beginning of the artwork for the TiPi liner. And you can see, again, I'm following the model that I made. So there's the mosaics for this, and there's the full moon. I'm going to shut up and let this video play out. And, yeah, I learned a lot doing this. I learned that I'm a klutz. And so I thought I'd do a real quick video, won't be very long, about some of the tools I use and some of the things I'm using in order to make that. So here we are with the model. Now this is from the 1/8 scale model that I made that is representative of the TiPi I'm building. And this is the print I made probably can't see very well, but this has got most of the dimensions on it, just for this section of it. The rest of it's just overdrawn. These are some of the tools that I use. My large compass. I have a smaller compass as well. Some of my steel rulers, and these are patterns that I made and then cut out in order for me to be able to have a continued pattern running that's the same size all the time. And these are the ovals. This is the horizontal oval, top and bottom, and this is the verticals, right and left. This is the small pattern, and this is for the vertical, and then this is the large one, and this is for the horizontal. And that's pretty much it. Those are the tools that I've bought and used and created in order to be able to do, I got some of it rolled over, this. So I'm on the last leg of it. So I'm out here, and this piece here is the first quarter. So it's a full moon is down here to my left, rolled up. Full moon is in there, and this will be the first quarter. And yeah, here we go, right? So yeah, it's taxing. Two more of these to do. What I found is I am going to have to sew on an additional 6 feet or 3 feet from each extra piece to the middle, which is normal. The middle is usually a larger piece anyways. So that's what I'll be doing. And yeah, then I also have to sew in the middle, in the very middle, these straps here. I need to sew some right dead center in the middle all the way down, about 2.5 feet apart from each other. So that'll be another thing. So there we are. So I brought this outside so I could take some pictures of it, get the measurements off it, so I could get the base measurement and judge that base measurement off my model to see how far off I was. And I was right. I was off by about 2.5 feet at the base. So I knew that I was going to be adding more material to the centerpiece, and so anyways, I'll let you enjoy the rest of this. So a friend of mine asked me about what happens when it rains, and I tried to explain to her that you put the smoke flaps over the opening, and you can divert the rain from coming down, but to a fine point where the apex of the teepee is, where the poles are combined, there's always going to be an opening, and there's always going to be some rain that comes in through that opening. So the solution to that is called a rain catch. This is what this project is that I'm working on right here. So if you can see the little tabs at the end, there's a piece of wood that goes around that and combines in the middle at the ends, and it creates like a little bowl, and that bowl catches rain. And you pull this up into the apex, and it catches the rain. Then you can lower it down and empty it, put it back up. So that's what this project is, and it's finished. And I'm going to end up trying it out sometime, but here it is. So okay, hope you enjoy it.
So, I don't know if you can see what I've done so far, but so far I've laid out the canvas. And the reason I have to lay out the canvas is so I can get the exact right spot on the poles where everything ties together. So I have to tie the three lifting pole, the three frame poles, the door pole, the north pole, and south pole, all have to be tied at the apex of the 18 feet. So that's where I'm at right now. And I'll be tying those together. I've already staked out 2 stakes over here to my left, so that when I lift the poles up, I'll be able to tie them to the ground and get them set. And then all I have to do is set up the lifting pole, which goes underneath the canvas and then gets tied to the lifting pole. The canvas gets tied to the lifting pole, roll it back up, set it out of the way, set up the poles. So you'll see. I'm not going to time this by letting it run the full extent. I'm going to time it off the phone. So this has taken about, I don't know, 15 minutes to get to this point, including getting everything off the out of the trailer box. So that's where we're at right now. All right. So the tripod is vertical but not stretched out. The canvas is tied to the lifting pole. I still have to move that off to the side. And next step. 1 hour into it, and that's with the prep work, right to the point where I'm about to raise the lifting pole. The lifting pole is the one that carries up the TiPi cover. So I'm right up to that point right now, and I'm 1 hour into it. Well, there it is. And that only took That took 2 hours. That's start to finish with everything, with the exception of the liner on the inside. I also have to do the smoke flap stays. But, yeah, 2 hours. All right, so the door is closed. There's the liner. It's not properly installed. Like I said, it needs to be up against the bottom of the TiPi poles, but that's what it is for now. And, hoorah, right? A little bit of psychedelic artwork. Buffaloes and my horsies. I like it. Okay, so there's the trailer. Far from complete, but closer than it was last week. All that's left really now is braces and lights.